Well, returning now to one of our top stories. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has promised more money to help build an electric vehicle auto battery plant in Windsor. The Stellantis plant halted construction on its planned factory in the southwestern Ontario city earlier this month. The company wrote a letter to Ottawa saying the government wasn't living up to its funding promises. The CBC's Rafi Bouchikanian has been following this story for us. He joins us now from Ottawa. So Rafi, what's the latest?
Hillary, today's news will no doubt cause some people to say, okay, well, maybe things are not so bleak for the future of this plant after all. For about a week now, there had been these questions ever since Stellantis, as you pointed out, said, you know what, Ottawa's not giving us enough money. We're going to pull out of this project, this multi-billion-dollar project. And then the federal government's response was, well, actually, we are paying our fair share, and it's Ontario that's not at the table. Now, Ontario Premier Doug Ford bristled at that suggestion until this morning. He had this to say on the subject.
I will confirm we're putting more money on the table there. This is all about saving jobs and giving people the quality of life they deserve in southwestern Ontario. Right now, we're moving in the right direction with the cooperation, again, with the municipalities, federal government, because, folks, it's us versus the world when it comes to attracting these companies to Ontario.
Now, while this has led to a change in tone from Ottawa, Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne is traveling. He's in Washington, D.C. at an unrelated conference, but he says he read the headlines of what the Premier had to say.
We're very happy. We have always done things together, and I certainly look forward to do more together because, when it comes to the battery ecosystem, you will recall we started that journey just a few months ago, and now Bloomberg ranks Canada second in the world for what we have achieved. So this is a real Canadian success, building a new industry, doing it together, jobs, good jobs for tens of thousands of workers for generations to come. So this is Canada winning, and when we win is because we work together.
Okay, Rafi, so what happens now?
There are still lots of questions. So Doug Ford was asked at that news conference, how much are you kicking in? Is it $500 million by a reporter? And he didn't really answer about the amount. Champagne himself wouldn't get into whether he thinks what Ontario is kicking in is exactly enough to be considered the province's fair share. So they're still negotiating in some sense. What we also don't know is if Stellantis is happy with Ontario's announcement today, because the company would not comment when our CBC Windsor colleagues reached out to them. All that being said, I will say, we had a very similar announcement with the Volkswagen plant also in southwestern Ontario recently. And in that case as well, we didn't know the exact amounts until the company held its own event. So if Stellantis is happy and decides to have its own sort of big official launch, that's when we would find out perhaps what the amounts of money entail from each level of government. The company had said previously that it would expect to create 2,500 jobs thanks to this plant.
Okay, Rafi, thank you for this. The CBC's Rafi Bouchikanian for us there in Ottawa.